Thank you, Chairman Ryan and Congressman Van Hollen, for this opportunity and committee. I'm Sister Simone Campbell, the Executive Director of Network, a national Catholic social justice lobby, and sort of well known as leader of Nuns on the Bus. At Network for 41 years, we have worked with people at the margins of society so that their voices can be heard here on Capitol Hill. And for my entire life in my religious community, I have worked with those who struggle economically, people often referred to as the working poor. I do this work from faith because I know, as our Pope Francis recently said, quote, "The measure of the greatness of a society is found in the way it treats those most in need, those who have nothing apart from their poverty," end quote. I want to believe that our society is great, but I do agree that we have work to do. The Census Bureau's supplemental poverty measure and my daily experiences tell us that every day in America, supports such as the EITC, SNAP, and Medicaid are making critical differences in the lives of low-income families, particularly children. The safety net does lift millions of people out of poverty. In fact, in 2011, government benefits lifted a total of 40 million people out of poverty. While Social Security has the largest impact of any single program, means-tested programs such as SNAP, SSI, and the EITC lifted almost 20 million Americans, including 8.5 million children, out of poverty. That's good news. But we also know that far too many of our neighbors struggle to make ends meet, and too many children face diminished prospects because of their disadvantaged circumstances. The causes of poverty are complex and have changed over the years. One of the biggest current drivers of poverty right now is low wages. 68% of the children living in poverty live in families where there are working parents. 68%. 82% of children living in families with incomes below twice the poverty line are living in families with working parents. The most important programs that help these families survive are principally, again, EITC, CTC, SNAP, Medicaid, CHIP. They are hugely successful programs making a big difference. I'd like to introduce you to some of my friends, my people. So please meet Billy, and I understand his picture can come up here. He's on the left there. Meet Billy from Milwaukee. I thought I'd get a Wisconsin person here. He and his wife both work, but their hours were cut back in the recession. Their combined salaries keep a roof over their two boys' heads. They use SNAP to feed the boys during the day and St. Benedict the Moor dining room in the evening. Billy told me that it was okay for him as a parent to eat just once a day, but it wasn't right for growing kids, especially his 14-year-old boy, teenager. SNAP, EITC, and CTC have allowed Billy and millions of others to care for their families while they continue to work. But other families have more complex stories of struggle. For them, a network of programs can make all the difference. Please meet Tia. Tia, who I met in Iowa. Tia grew up in foster care and ran away at 16 because of mistreatment. She thought that she needed to sleep with men in order to survive. When we met, she was 19 and had been homeless with 2 children. This is a horrible scenario that none of us like. What you need to know is that Tia, when we met, was leaving a shelter run by Catholic sisters and moving to transitional housing. She had learned to cook, to be a better mother. She had gotten her GED and was working part-time while studying in a community college to become a licensed vocational nurse. This progress was because of federal programs that help fund the shelter, transitional housing, SNAP, Medicaid, Pell Grants, etc., as well as the love and care of the sisters and staff. Love and care alone were not enough. It required significant funding from the federal government and the private sector, and a dedicated staff. One of the biggest stumbling blocks for adults in poverty is access to health care. I know that some, probably some of you, want the Affordable Care Act repealed, but this desire ignores our nation's need and the fact that the ACA is already helping to control general medical costs, but that's a different issue. But I want to introduce you to Margaret Kistler, who lost her job in Cincinnati during the 2008 recession. With no job, she had no health care. She had no health insurance. She could not afford COBRA coverage. She knew she was at risk for colon cancer, but could not afford the screenings. When finally seen in the emergency room, she was terminally ill. Margaret died last year at age 56. This is why the expansion of Medicaid in the ACA is so critical. Had it been fully implemented in 2010, Margaret could have received screening, treatment, and been a contributing member of our society today. For me, the expansion of health care is a pro-life issue, and it's also good economics. These three people are real U.S. citizens. Margaret contributed to her community, but died because she lacked health care. Tia and Billy strive to raise their families and contribute to their neighborhoods. They have used federal programs to improve their situation and give stability to their children. They represent the millions of Americans who have benefited from these vital programs that are a mix of public-private cooperation. One final word about SNAP.
If you could summarize, please. Thank you.
Surely. SNAP is the most effective program we have with the least amount of waste, fraud, and abuse. It lifts people from utter destitution to just above 1/2 of the poverty line. It is more important in giving stability to kids, families, than just about any of the other programs. From my perspective, cutting SNAP is wrong morally and is not in keeping with the actual facts about the program. It expanded because of the Great Recession. It will contract if we grow the economy. In the richest nation on earth, we are not suffering from a scarcity of resources for these programs. We suffer from a scarcity of political will to do what is needed. Faith and patriotism demand that we avoid the easy sound bites that cast poor families as other, lazy, and blames poverty on the very programs that help families survive. Faith and patriotism demand investing in the supports that bring both dignity and opportunity to people. I pray that this hearing strengthens our political will to act with moral integrity and form the more perfect union that our Constitution calls us to, and promotes the general welfare by giving all people real opportunity, real wages, and real supports for their family. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. Thank you.